Good afternoon. Thanks so much for joining in. So when we were talking in the morning, you did mention that while this move has come as a bit of a surprise and you thought that Moody's has not, or rather given a bypass to the rising oil prices and possible fisc, missing the government missing out on the fisc glide path that it was on, you did take it very, very positively, and you thought it will be really positive for flows as well coming into India.
Definitely, Neeraj. When we meet some of the pension fund investors, they are unable to invest in India because of lower rating. Now that constraint has been removed. Of course, there were certain pension fund investors who had taken an exception to invest in India. But now, the broad range of pension funds will start investing in India or start looking at India. Second, in the global market, as rating upgrade happens, and you have started seeing corporate rating also getting changed, their borrowing cost, the spread over US Treasury will start cutting down. That reduces their borrowing cost. Third, as the rating upgrade happens, many of the foreign banks as well as foreign institutions, their exposure limit gets revised. They will be able to take higher exposure on India, whether it's sovereign, whether it's public sector, whether it's corporate. That could be a matter of debate. But their overall allocation to India will get increased because of this upgrade. The other thing is also the domestic interest rate environment. I mean, clearly today we are in a transitionary phase where RBI is trying to control inflationary expectations, and for controlling those inflationary expectations, we have high real interest rates. With this rating upgrade, certainly chances of real interest rates stabilizing, normalizing, and coming down increases. So overall, this increases FII flows into country on equity side, on foreign borrowing side, as well as domestic rupee debt. It also diversifies our investor base, which is reasonably diversified, but now we go into more long-term investors. And third, it also sends a message to foreign direct investor that, look, here is a country which is on the up move. This rating upgrade is coming almost after a period of 13 years. So clearly that's a positive message to foreign direct investors as well.
All right, Nilesh, all of that is entirely taken on board. It is a positive message. It's an acknowledgement of, some of the reforms that have been instituted by the government. But at the end of the day, the proof of the pudding will lie in the eating. We don't know what these reforms are actually going to do. So these are still all assumptions, right, Nilesh?
No, not at all. We exactly know what's going to happen. When you open equivalent of 12 times Australia's population bank account, you know that people will start moving from physical savings to financial savings. A poor person who probably had to invest in gold because she or he did not have access to bank account, today can afford to transfer his or her savings into bank accounts rather than putting into gold. We know this. Similarly, if we look at GST, I mean, we know that our tax compliance standards are comparable to African nations. We are geographically situated in Asia, but mentally we are in Africa. Now, we know that the window of tax avoidance will get narrower. We will start moving from Africa to Asia. Maybe it will take some time, but that window is narrowing down. We know that. With demonetization, while there are lots of debates about whether it's successful or failure, we do know that 3% of GDP has moved from Tijori to bank account. We do know that the velocity of currency versus velocity of bank money, there is a difference of almost 6 times. Now multiply that 3% shift into 6, you have a penalty goal to create 18% additional deposit, 18% additional credit. And if you can invest that credit wisely, not creating bubble, not creating non-performing loans, then you have scored a goal. You can probably increase GDP by 25% using that. Now, will it happen in a hurry? Answer is no, but at least you have got a penalty goal. You can score a goal if you hit the ball in right direction. So there are lots of things which we know, and probably that's why Moody's, without waiting for seeing the numbers, is taking the call that with this kind of reforms, things will change for better. Growth will accelerate, investment will accelerate, And as GDP expands, government debt to GDP ratio will start normalizing and coming down. So there are lots of assumptions undoubtedly. We yet have to see the delivery in some aspects, but it is worth taking the call.